So UFC 310 Fight Week is officially here, which means we are only a few days away from seeing Kai Asakura make his highly anticipated debut in the UFC against what I think is the most underrated fighter in UFC history in Alexandre Pantoja. And what I want to do in this video is break down this fight at length. I want to discuss both fighters, explain when I go back and watch the tape what I'm seeing and what I think both guys are going to do in this fight to look to exploit each other. And then I want to ultimately end with how I see the fight actually playing out. Now, if you're looking for my UFC 310 full card predictions and breakdowns, I will link that down in the description so you can hear my takes on all the fights at UFC 310. But guys, this fight is absolutely spectacular between Pantoja and Asakura because, like I said, Pantoja is one of the most disrespected fighters in UFC history. This guy is 9-0. I'm going to say that again. 9-0 against ranked competition inside of the flyweight division. That is spectacular. That is unbelievable. Everyone that they have put in this guy's path, he has found a way to solve the puzzle. He's beaten Brandon Moreno multiple times. He's beaten Brandon Royval multiple times, who are two of the best fighters currently in the division. And he's basically he finds a way no matter what comes his way in a fight. He finds a way to get it done. He's going in there against the new kid on the block, the new toy, as I like to call it, as the UFC goes outside of the promotion. They don't go to, a local pro scene or here or there. They go to a big organization outside of the UFC themselves and go over to Ryzen and say, you know what? Give us the biggest star you got, and that would be Kai Asakura. Guy's got over 1 million subscribers on YouTube. He has a massive fan base, and the reasons for that are, one, he's just got the it factor. Every time Kai Asakura fights, this guy is putting on a spectacular show, whether he's winning or losing, which most of the time he's winning. He is entertaining to watch every single time. And I hear a lot of people saying, oh, well, the UFC's only giving him a title shot because he's from Japan and they're trying to tap into that market. I mean, yeah, that's like part of it. But every time you watch this guy fight, it's entertaining. Out of all the fights I could go back on Ryzen's channel and just searching around on YouTube that I could find, he's never in a boring fight. This guy is one of the most exciting fighters when it comes to the flyweight division because he's a bantamweight coming down to flyweight here. He is one of the most exciting fighters in both, I'll go flyweight and bantamweight weight classes in all of MMA, no matter the organization. So what you're going to see in this fight is a very explosive guy against the gritty, tenacious Alexandre Pantoja, who has all that experience and has been in there with some of the best competition on the planet in the flyweight division. So let's first hop into Kai Asakura. I want to discuss him, then we'll do Pantoja, and then I'll lay out kind of how I think this fight plays out. But when I go back and I watch the tape on Kai Asakura, a couple things stand out to me, which is this guy's very explosive, right? He's more of a counter striker. He likes to kind of pressure you, get in your face, but then he loves when you chase after him to where he could just slide out of range and let that pull two go, that pull counter right hand like Conor McGregor back in the day, kind of smiling at you, baiting you in, and then as soon as you come rushing in, he'll counter with the left hand. Kai Asakura's not really smiling at you or anything, but he waits, he feints at you, and then when you blitz in, that's where he slides just out of the way to try to land that missile right hand right down the middle. And this dude, overall, outside of that, he's very explosive. Throws flying knees. He throws them to the body. He can time wrestlers when they, take a shot. He'll throw into the body, to the head. That's how he was able to finish Juan Archuleta in his most recent outing. This guy is absolutely dangerous. And outside of that, he also has a very, very good lead leg kick that'll throw to the body, to the head. The dude is just, he's sensational, man. He's fun to watch. There's nothing when you watch Kai Asakura that spells boring. And that is a huge reason that the UFC is bringing him over, because if you can have him as champion, one, opens up the door to all these new matchups, but then you have a guy who's a striker, someone that is marketable when it comes to, oh, look at the highlight reel KOs that we got here. He's a fun guy to watch. So that's what the UFC sees here. This guy is absolutely fun to watch. There's no question about it. But when you talk about what it's going to look like against Pantoja, I think this is the hardest fight of Asakura's career because Kai has fought some good guys over in Ryzen. He fought Manel Kape, who's currently in the UFC, where they are 1-1 apiece. He fought Kyoji Horiguchi, who has a pretty good striking karate-based style. And Kai has found a lot of success against these guys just off the fact that he doesn't have a ton of volume, but whenever he lands, you feel it. This is a guy that is not a high output guy, and everything that he throws is going to be with a ton of power. He's looking to hurt you. He's looking to finish you. And again, that's what makes him exciting. But in this fight, he's going to have to fight very smart, because a lot of the times with Kai in these matchups, he tends to get a little bit reckless. He loves when you chase him, but when you chase him recklessly. The one thing about Pantoja, he doesn't, even though at times it looks like he's kind of tucking his chin and getting a little, he like ducks down and he's like this, and it looks a little bit reckless, but is also very calm in the chaos to where he ducks under and does a great job securing the takedowns, to where if Kai tends to get a little too reckless like he does in the past, if he does that in this fight, I'm just going to see him getting taken down, or I could see him getting taken down quite a bit by Pantoja in this matchup, because Pantoja is probably coming into this with a grapple heavy approach. So if I'm Kai Asakura, I'm doing what got me to the dance. I'm being entertaining. I'm being that exciting guy, but I'm just really picking my shots, because I think if Kai's going to win this fight, it's going to have to be by finish in the earlier rounds, because one of the things is coming over from Ryzen, here to the UFC, the 5-round experience that Pantoja has in all of those championship rounds. While he does have some miles on him, that is a length of experience that Kai is going to have to overcome in this matchup. And a lot of the times when Kai gets a win, he's finishing somebody early on. So how does he solve a guy that's going to be throwing the kitchen sink at him? And then, you hit Pantoja with your best shot and he's still coming forward. How do you kind of navigate that? But when you talk about Asakura, the explosiveness, the speed, the way that he picks and selects his shots, he is a very, very, very dangerous fight for anybody in this weight class. And one of the other things as well, a lot of these finishes that he's doing over there, a lot of those shots, I don't think you could throw them in the UFC. I mean, over at Ryzen, they're throwing soccer kicks, they're punting people in the head. They have like a little bit more of an extensive rule set. So that sounds kind of silly, but that is a factor here, that if he does hurt Pantoja, he can't just, I know that there were some adjustments back in November with the 12-6 elbows. We have had a little bit of, some adjustments in the UFC, but he can't just go full Rambo mode and start throwing, some wild strikes. He'll end up, with a Piotr Jan type of situation where we got a DQ here. So hopefully that doesn't happen. This is a guy that's ferocious. He's dangerous. I mean, the way that the UFC has been marketing him and promoting him leading up to this, I mean, the stars are aligning for this guy. It's going to be a tough challenge, but if he could get this done, I mean, not only is he already a big star, but getting introduced to these other markets that aren't familiar with him, I mean, there's a lot on this for Kai Asakura. The guy's 31 years of age. Every time he steps in there, he's entertaining. And not only that, he's a guy that's been at bantamweight. So what we've seen from a couple of, some of these great bantamweights, like TJ Dillashaw, and a guy who, he's been kind of up and down recently, but a guy that used to be one of the best bantamweights, I guess he was in his prime for 25 minutes against Dominic Cruz, Cody Garbrandt. Both of those guys decided to go down, to flyweight, and I don't know if it was the weight cuts or what it was, but they just looked like a shell of themselves, shedding off the extra 10 pounds to get down to flyweight. So whenever you see a guy who's fought, a lot at a higher weight class and they come back down, what plays out here. And a lot of that had to do with, you look at the bantamweight division. If I'm looking at that and I'm Kai Asakura, I'm like, dude, I got to go through murderer's row to get a title shot here. And even if I do win the title, look at the competition here. Not that, some of the guys in the flyweight division aren't tough, but bantamweight, I mean, the whole division is loaded. There's guys that aren't ranked that are outstanding fighters and could possibly be champions at some point. So, bantamweight's loaded. And then in the flyweight division, the door's wide open. There, Pantoja's basically beating everybody. So Asakura getting this opportunity, I completely get it from the UFC. He's entertaining to watch. He's got an outstanding skill set. It is going to be on him to keep his back off the fence, keep Pantoja at the end of his strikes, and when Pantoja does tend to crash forward and extend on those combinations, Asakura is going to have to capitalize and slide out of range and land those devastating shots, because if he comes into this and just gets a little too reckless and just kind of is swinging for the bleachers and he's not finding, success with the connections, he's going to get tired, and Pantoja is going to wear on him and take him into deep water and maybe even find a submission at some point. But if you're Asakura, you got to do what you got, what got you to the dance. You can't come in here and just be all shy and all these kinds of things, because we do see that. We see guys come over and maybe they don't look like themselves, but I don't think we see that. I think we see an aggressive Kai Asakura. This is a guy whose brother's dragging him out to the street in the middle of the night and they're just throwing down. I mean, this guy, he's fun to watch, man. He's got good power. He's explosive. It's going to be a fun watch come UFC 310 here. But again, if he doesn't get an early round finish, I think he gets drowned by the pressure of Alexandre Pantoja. So if you're going to pick Kai, it's going to have to be by KO within, I would say, the first 3 rounds. I think as we start to get to the back half of the 3rd round, if it goes that long, there's going to be some issues with the gas tank and in terms of the way that Pantoja is able to wear on him. But Kai Asakura absolutely has a chance against Pantoja if he can keep the fight on the feet. But moving on to Alexandre Pantoja here. You heard me say it. 9-0 against ranked flyweights. 9-0. I mean, I put out a tweet recently. I said, look, I think you could make the argument that Alexandre Pantoja should be higher than John Jones on the pound-for-pound list. This guy, no matter who you throw in front of him, he's beating the best flyweights in the world. Like, I know he's had some close fights with these guys, but this is, when we're talking about flyweight, we're talking about guys that all have a ton of energy, all have really good cardio, and have very, very good technique for the most part. And he's going in there against Brandon Moreno multiple times, Brandon Royval multiple times. He's going in there with, Steve Erceg, a guy that was on the rise that looked fantastic, excellent boxing, good grappling. And I know that was a close fight with Pantoja. I still, when I watch it back, I still thought Pantoja did win that fight. The dude's a dog. He's a dog. He's got grit. He's got tenacity. And he has this do or die attitude to where he is going to lay it all on the line and find a way to win. And that's what we've seen from Pantoja. Whenever you see a champion that has a lot of experience and they win in so many different ways, I find that very impressive. It's not like he's just going out there KOing everybody or subbing everybody. We've seen him get in a dogfight and win a 5-round decision. We've seen him go out there and submit people. We've seen him hurt people on the feet and find a way to get a finish. Like Pantoja, he's a guy that can win a fight many different ways. To where Asakura, it seems like he's almost banking on a KO here. So when I look at what we've seen from Alexandre in his UFC career, everyone talks about durability, grit, and all those different things. This guy is highly skilled, right? On the feet, it's not maybe the most aesthetically pleasing thing, but the way that he blitzes forward, the way that he mixes and blends the kicks with the hands, it's a lot to deal with. And then just as you start getting comfortable and think that you found your shot on the feet, he will then blitz in, level change, get a hold of you, take you down, push you up against the fence, wear on you. And then when he takes you down, he's looking to advance positions in terms of the grappling. He has pretty good ground and pound, but whenever he is able to take your back, it is a real problem. And if I can look back at some of the film of Kai, some of the things that have given him some issues, when guys grapple, when guys take him down, when they're able to control him, when they're able to wear on him, when they're able to, kind of catch him in a scramble, there are going to be those opportunities if Pantoja can get to the grappling in this fight. And I'm saying can because when he closes the distance against Asakura, he's going to have to be careful because those knees are absolutely devastating. It's not like Asakura just throws that and it's like, oh, he had a one knee KO fluke. No, this is a very dangerous weapon that this guy uses to kind of be that anti-grappler type of style to where if you want a level change, he's like, okay, but you better watch out for this knee. So as long as Pantoja can avoid the knee of Asakura, can avoid getting caught by that pull counter right hand that Asakura likes to throw, I think Pantoja has a lot of success because when I go back and I watch Asakura's most recent outing against Juan Archuleta, Juan was landing a lot of really, really good shots on the feet against Asakura. He had some success with the wrestling. He had some success with the overall grappling. And Juan Archuleta is not like some scrub, right? He's fought in Bellator for a while, teammated TJ Dillashaw, kind of a similar style to TJ. And Kai was getting tagged up. He was getting tagged up on the feet. He was getting controlled a little bit with the grappling there. And I'm telling you right now, if that's Pantoja, not only is he landing, but when he takes Asakura down, from what I've seen from Kai, I think it's going to be a problem. In the early rounds, he'll be scrambly. He'll be explosive. The adrenaline will be rushing. He's in the UFC. There's high expectations here. I think if Pantoja comes into this, weaponizes the championship experience, weaponizes the ability of, I've been in the UFC for so long. I've been in there with the best of the best in the sport. And I come in there and I utilize the grappling. I blend the takedowns behind the striking. I think Pantoja absolutely wins this fight. And ultimately for a result here, I think we're looking at Pantoja winning probably either by a decision or some sort of submission here because outside of Kai Asakura landing some, perfectly timed shot in the earlier rounds, I think that's basically what he's banking on to win this fight. He's not going to out-grapple Alexandre Pantoja. I'd be stunned if he did. He's not going to out-grapple him. He's not going to out-volume him. He's not going to outwork him. So really, what does that leave? lands, unless he lands some sort of, shot that Pantoja, just perfectly times a shot or hits him with a shot he doesn't see coming, Pantoja absolutely, in my opinion, will win this fight. Whether it's, by decision or a finish, that's going to be for you to decide. But what we've seen from Pantoja, the grappling, I think this is the best grappler Asakura has faced. And I think that with what we have seen from Pantoja, if he could get to the takedowns, utilize defense, because over in Rizin, they're fighting in a ring. So I think that that's going to help out, Asakura a little bit in terms of takedown defense, instead of being back up against the ropes and you got like a spotter who's trying to prevent you from falling outside of the damn ring. So I think that that could help Asakura a little bit fend off the takedowns, twist his body, spread his legs, make it harder to get the hands locked. But I think that if Pantoja comes in this with a smart game plan, doesn't just brawl on the feet with Asakura, mixes in the grappling, keeps him guessing, and can take him down and control him and wear on him, I think Pantoja dominates this fight. I think that he will utilize the grappling. I think that he will look to advance positions. And ultimately, as Asakura gets tired, I could really see Pantoja finding a submission in the mid to later rounds as the fight progresses. But make no mistake about it, Asakura, he's a puzzle because he's dangerous on the feet. He's explosive. He's got confidence. There's a lot of pressure coming into this. If he could tag Pantoja and be one of the first people to really put a hurting on Pantoja, that would be spectacular, because not only is Pantoja one of the best, flyweights of all time, I think he should be higher on the pound for pound rankings. What he has done, in the division, absolutely spectacular. Dude is a stud. This is a great matchup in the flyweight division. Lots of intrigue because we have not seen Asakura inside the UFC thus far. Great matchup. I want to hear from you all down in the comments. Like this video. Let me know who you think is going to win this fight and how you see them getting it done. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell so you do not miss an upload. I would appreciate it. See you next time.